Hello, you're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy history podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by...
As always, Steve Bagliacco.
And...
Hi.
And G.
Wow.
Taking a sip of water.
Insulting. You should know who I am. I respect
I don't think it was insulting.
I respect
I
it.
just had a mouthful of water.
I respect
Today
it.
we're going to talk about finance, money.
Yes, yeah. You fucking dirty boy.
You had like a booger in your mustache.
Oh,
I didn't want to address it. I was just trying
You can.
Yeah.
You can tell them. Tell the world.
I just did.
So we're talking about finance today.
Talking about finance, Wall Street, Steve's old stomping ground. Steve was friends with these guys. He used to act and behave like them. Banker Steve.
Big Short.
Hanging out.
That's Jimmy's nickname.
I was not a banker.
wanted to be a banker.
Banker. I forgot why we picked this, but I'm glad we did. It's first impressions. All right, I've never seen this.
I saw this in theaters.
You did see it in theaters. Did you have
Yeah.
this your first time?
Yeah, I never saw it before.
Okay. I loved it. I like this movie a lot. Shockingly. Maybe not so much the overall messaging.
It's the cool guy finance.
However, being from the world, I saw a lot
of realism.
of realism in this movie, yes. More than one would expect.
I was talking to my mortgage guy who does this.
After the movie?
Yes, he does it now. He just had gotten started when this all went down.
2008?
Yeah. And he was telling me about his job at the time was he would sit next to a 400-pound woman who was on the phone getting mortgage applications, and like literally by the bushel load, they would just approve them one after another, after another, after another. No one was ever denied.
Yep.
And that's what he did. And he said that the environment was like a giant party. All that, like, they didn't want you getting up from your desk for any reason. Said they would come around with carts with like booze and food, and like just hand them out, and you just do that for hours and hours a day, and then that's it.
Then you
And it
destroy
just
the world.
couldn't go on forever.
And you destroy the world.
I remember this whole event actually had somewhat of a impact.
It affected us.
Yeah,
100%.
But like just on a personal level, like I remember a few days after the big crash in '08, I was going to see Amorphous, Silent Waters tour,
Okay.
B.B. King's. I got off the ferry. I was with my brother, a couple of our friends. And we decided, let's walk past Wall Street on our way to Bowling Green. to
See
get
what
the
it's
train.
like.
Just see what's going on over there.
This guy became street pizza in
It
front
is
of it.
the first time I ever saw communists.
Yeah.
They came back from the grave.
Yeah.
Like they were gone. They were gone since the Soviet Union fell.
They had to win.
And then the streets were crowded with people wearing hammer and sickle shirts and fucking holding signs. I had never seen that in my life until that point. Now I see them constantly.
Well, that started Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah.
Which is this
Which was just homeless people.
that shit has reverberated through the culture today from people who don't understand shit. They don't know why shit got fucked up.
Right.
They just hear Wall Street bad,
right.
capitalism bad.
Right. We love Luigi.
We love Luigi. Let's murder people.
Luigi, yeah.
And these people don't know fucking anything.
Yeah.
They don't understand how shit works.
No.
And they're the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. Incapable of any sort of reasonable debate about philosophy or theoretical things. Anytime someone's a Keynesian, or Keynesian. Anytime someone's a Keynesian, you should automatically discredit anything they say about economics because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because it's been provably false every single fucking time. I'm
Preach.
sorry, guys. I'm sorry, audience.
Preach.
This shit fires me the fuck up. I'm an economics nerd, and I like economics. This shit fires me the fuck up.
Preach.
Okay.
Do it.
I'm
Go
gonna
in.
go off. I feel
Go
like
in.
fucking Steve Carrell.
You don't like Maynard Keynes?
No, he's a fucking piece of shit. He's a fraud, and everything he said was a goddamn lie. Austrian economics work. It's proven. It's being proven again in Argentina. Our society was built on that shit.
Yeah.
And it is, as we've gone away, it's gotten worse.
Every time we get away, it gets
Every
worse.
time you get away from it, the economy goes down. Yes. And it may take decades, which it happened with this shit. But guess what? That's why the housing market crashed. It's not bankers suddenly became extra greedy in 2008. There's other fucking policies in play, some of which going back to the 1930s and the 1970s, which come into play, and we're going to fucking talk about them all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, okay. I agree with almost everything you said there except one part, which I think your fire may
I'm
have,
fired the
you're
fuck
fired
up.
up. You're hot. You're running hot, and I like it. It's turning me on a little bit, and it shouldn't. I might take my sweater off and just look at you lovingly. The crisis in 2008 started in the late 90s.
Nope.
Well, from this specific thing.
You talking about what Clinton did?
I'm talking about credit default swaps.
I mean, according to the movie, it started in the 70s.
That is not what I was referencing. It's credit default swaps that kind of triggered this. I'm not saying the policy. That's not what I was talking about. The actual banks that created credit default swaps were at fault here.
And why did they have to create credit default swaps?
Yes.
Let's think about that for a second.
Insurance.
Because they flooded the country with migrants?
On debt.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, that's not. It's not just migrants. You can't just blame immigrants for this.
Listen, tell me something. It's easy to hate the rich, but Brian, do you have the courage to hate the poor?
He does. Yeah. I'll bring it both together. Let's have the courage to just hate them both.
Yeah.
There was many problems and causes this. We're not going to iron them all out in an hour and a half episode.
You have unbridled inflation. You
Yes.
have the dollar again off the gold standard.
Yes.
But perhaps the biggest culprit is the Community Reinvestment Act of 1977, which this movie doesn't have the fucking audacity to mention once.
What is that?
You don't know what that is?
I don't know what that is, no.
Do you know what that is?
Say it.
Community invention.
He's asking.
So I'm going to read a little from Walter Williams.
Okay.
And
Who's that?
He's an economist, and Thomas Sowell. They both have commented.
We might
him.
not get into the movie.
So
It's fine.
the Community Reinvestment Act of 1977 was the brilliant brainchild of Jimmy Carter. And basically, essentially what it said was nobody could be denied a mortgage loan.
Right.
So what that meant was
Every lowlife in the world
every
gets a
lowlife
mortgage
gets a
loan.
mortgage.
Yes.
And typically the banks would adjust the loans, or they'd give you some sort of.
How did they not bring that up in the movie? I knew
Because
that.
it's
I didn't know what it was called, but I know what this
because
is.
it's fucking propaganda.
Yeah.
And the movie has several things that want you to. It's all the bankers. It's just the bankers. The government played no part in this whatsoever, other than bailing out these cocksuckers, which they shouldn't have done either. But so the community.
But maybe don't fucking if you're not a low-life human, don't fucking try and get a house you can't afford. You know?
I don't
hate the poor. You gotta hate the poor.
I don't blame people for wanting to aspire to more.
I don't blame people for their mistakes, but I do ask that they pay for them.
What is that from?
Jurassic Park.
So let me tell you about two other things
Dr. Abbott.
which aren't mentioned in the movie, which led to the financial crash. So we have the Community Reinvestment Act of 1977. And I'm going to read for a little excerpt from Walter Williams' economics book. By the way, his book Race and Economics is phenomenal. Highly recommend it. The root of the problem
Who
lies.
wins?
No matter who wins, we lose. All right. The root of the problem lies in Washington. The Community Reinvestment Act of 1977, later given teeth during the Bush and Clinton administrations, forced financial institutions to make risky mortgage loans they otherwise would not have made.
Subprime. Mortgages.
Yup. President Clinton's Attorney General Janet Reno threatened legal action against lenders who racial statistics raised her suspicions. Bank loan qualification standards in general came under criticism as being too stringent regarding down
Because
payments, credit histories, and income.
Let's say you want a loan for $50,000 and you're a low-paying employee. They're not going to give it to you because you don't have credit.
They wouldn't let you. They weren't looking at credit history, income, or any of that.
The housing
shit.
market also didn't cost
By law of the government, the banks were not
house.
able to.
Yeah.
So how can you blame the banks when they're not able to do this?
Right.
Then, let me continue. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, two government-sponsored enterprises,
Huge
by lowering
enterprises.
their standards for the kinds of mortgage paper they would purchase from banks and other mortgage lenders, gave financial institutions further incentive to make risky loans. So that's one thing. So now you got these two things, right? And here's the third one, which really gets the dominoes toppling. In 2002, the W administration urged Congress to enact the American Dream Down Payment Assistance Act, which subsidized down payments of home buyers whose income was below a certain level.
So now the government bails out people who can't pay their mortgages?
They give them a starting fund, but they have to pay them back. So they're just giving them a lower rate.
But they're not able to.
So just debt accumulates.
Yes.
Yes. Bush also urged Congress to pass legislation requiring the FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, to make zero down payment loans at low interest rates to low-income Americans. Between 2005 and 2007, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac acquired an estimated $1 trillion worth of subprime loans and guaranteed more than $2 trillion worth of mortgages.
Wow.
Thomas Sowell, another economist, points out it is
That's
large.
the black guy?
Yeah, Williams is black too. Thomas Sowell points out that this is larger than the gross domestic product of all but 4 nations. There were numerous warnings about this that went unheeded. So you have
that's what I was going to say. You have to blame the banks for trying to cover all this shit up and hiding it.
They're wrong. Look, they're not. The banks are not perfect. But again,
No shit.
but they're forced into this policy by the government.
Yes.
The government is forcing them to do risky actions to turn a profit,
Right.
because they're not letting them actually make stable, sensible investment.
No, they're forcing them to just do retard
To
shit.
do
subprime mortgages.
subprime mortgages.
Yeah. Right.
The
Which is
government
why-
literally forced them. And how do you not
How is that not in the movie?
How do you not reference it? And I'll tell you the reason. Because this came out in 2015. Adam McKay loves Barack Obama.
Right.
He's a big Democrat shill.
That's the director?
The director. He's mostly did comedy movies, but to not put any of this in the movie, not even a fucking line, is a grave sin and a complete rewriting of
But it
history.
sounds like he could have, if he wanted to, just blame Bush like they always do.
He could have mentioned Bush.
Yeah.
Bush played a part. It's a trifecta.
right.
It's actually a quad because you have Carter. It's a triple. No, sorry. Carter, Clinton, Bush. The three of them wrecked the housing market, and this movie wants you to believe it's just bankers doing it. You know, the government played no part.
So I agree they could have put that in, but when
And Barack was in office.
yes, yeah, exactly. So
this came out
Brian's right here.
If this came out today,
That's all they were talking
That's
about.
it.
there might be a line where they mention this act. They still
Yeah.
probably wouldn't because it goes against his general position overall. But again, it's fucking horseshit.
It's key to the whole thing.
And I love this movie.
You do.
I like this movie a lot. I love it. I
done
loved it in theaters. Then I looked into it and I researched more because I was like, this kind of doesn't seem right based on what I know about economics.
Right.
And this movie fucking has the balls to reference Adam Smith, and they show Adam
Yeah,
Smith.
he's in the show the book.
They show his book. You have the balls to reference Adam Smith, but you're not going to fucking show any of this? You're not going to mention this?
He's so upset. Well, here's
It offends me. Like, this is like if you saw a movie criticizing like Catholic shit, and you're like, this is
Kingdom of Heaven.
This is my Mary.
Yeah.
You know how like on Mary you were like that's horseshit? This is my Mary. This is a Jewish man's Mary.
Here's
I feel like Steve Carrell doing the ultimate Jew here.
how much did you connect with Steve Carell's character?
He's so Jewy in this.
I like his voice.
Yeah.
He's great.
Like,
Who knew Steve Carell knew how to act?
He's
He's
great.
not just
Yeah,
Michael
he's
Scott.
fantastic.
he's actually a great actor when he
he's
does this kind of
fantastic.
stuff.
Here's one thing that they probably should have did that, but it doesn't. I don't think it takes away from the idea of the trade itself that they had and how they formulated it. You know what I mean? because it's touching upon what these researchers were going after, because it's based on that book, not as so much as the policy and the people behind it. Like, they didn't mention any of the bankers who actually did this. You know what I mean?
By name?
Which they could have. They could have mentioned the CEOs of a lot of different banks, and they didn't. So, like, if you're not going to mention the CEOs...
Some of these guys needed to get arrested.
That's, 100%, yes. Yeah. If you're not going to
And
mention the CEOs...
And the fact that they all got bailed out. Chase got bailed out. We got sold out,
Yeah.
as I heard from a popular
You're not going to mention Lehman
protest
Brothers. You're not going to mention AIG's involvement. You're not going to mention the government Sachs thing, where every government worker goes to Goldman Sachs. You're not going to mention that. You're not going to mention the connection to Ben Bernanke. You're not going to mention... There's a lot...
How did Pelosi make money off this?
There's a lot that you could have mentioned. Probably on the credit default swaps. There's a lot that they could have mentioned that they didn't. However, this is to give you an idea of how this trade was formulated, the struggle behind it, the cost, the risk, and how they profited. Granted, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing.
Well,
I'm just saying I don't think it takes away from the story.
I think the story's
You know what
good,
I mean?
and I think the movie works. But I think the gravest sin that the movie commits is the movie is trying to educate. It's clearly an education.
But down a very narrow path.
It's clearly an educational movie, right?
Yeah.
And I love it. And I think all the education shit is explained well and handled well, and I love it.
I definitely learned something.
But I think that to completely ignore such a large contributing factor to suit a personal narrative of personal
Almost
politics
the cause.
I don't know
definitely a direct
I don't know how
connection.
you can look at this from any realistic level and say that the 1977 Community Reinvestment Act played no part in it. To the
that's
point where
crazy.
you don't mention it is a grave sin and an injustice.
It's a key... that's what I was thinking. Like, I knew that existed.
Yes.
And when I was watching the movie, I'm like, well, they have to give loans to these people.
Yes.
Like, when they go to the guy's house and it's like a guy who's like, I pay my rent to the landlord.
But the landlord
and he's
doesn't
clearly like a low-class
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
In this
You know?
like palatial mansion.
Right. And it's like, oh, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And the strippers and all that.
And it's
Stripper
like
that has 5 houses.
Right.
Yeah.
it's like, you know when this didn't happen with the housing market?
Before they did.
1977.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, and it's like we watch The Simpsons, right? And just if Married with Children, you watch a sitcom from them, and
Anything throughout the 80s and 70s.
and one guy was capable of fucking
providing a home for his
and
family.
a life for his whole family.
With one salary.
Yeah,
And save for vacation and cars and
and it's
college.
like that's 1989, and this comes out in 2008, which is 20 years later.
No, well, the event happened in
The
2000.
event happens in 2008, yeah. But it's like, it's already a fucking relic. And it's like, do you think that...
Oh, yeah, we were robbed of that.
Yeah.
of all
Yeah, but
that.
it's like, do you think that maybe your bill, which came out 10 years before that, played some sort of factor
Yeah,
that you
the
want to
things
mention?
maybe changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, as the inflation has skyrocketed for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they don't want to. That just goes against what I believe, so I just won't mention it. It's a historical fact, a document.
Mm-hmm.
Just won't erase it. And now you have people who have seen this movie, who have been propagandized to believe this,
And love Luigi.
and they have,
love
and they
Luigi.
have,
Love Luigi. Yeah,
and like,
I really do.
It's like you watch,
Can't get enough Luigi.
Yeah. you watch this movie, and it's like they'll be like, bankers are evil, man. They're all out to get us. It's like, yeah, they're out to make money. They are. Do you think
They're not your friend. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
for
they're
sure.
not.
do you think they wanted the entire market to collapse and all that damage? Like, that
Right.
doesn't go against what they... It's like, they would have preferred to have a bunch of good loans that they keep making
Right.
money on forever. They were forced to give shit
So
loans
they might as well just fucking go nuts.
as high as they can
Right.
and ride the wave. It's like, it's a
So
fucking
is the
lie.
movie? Do you think the movie's disingenuous in that the vast majority of people didn't see this coming?
I think a lot of people didn't see it coming, yeah. Like, I think that's all accurate. Like, as far
Mm-hmm.
as, like,
100%
I think in that environment you're gonna have really disgusting people going buck wild.
you will.
Absolutely.
But, like-
and then you can attest to this. You saw it.
I've lived through this.
Yeah.
I made
So-
money off of this.
But, like,
crap.
all those firms, and I think they
Yeah,
do...
like I don't whitewash these people.
No, I'm not.
They're not fucking saints. They're not.
No.
They don't care
I'm
about
not saying
the
that either.
common
They're
man.
out to make money.
Yeah.
They're out to make money,
Don't
which is
forget-
the job of every business ever
Right.
from the dawn of time.
Don't forget, the banks that were receiving these bailouts easily could have said, no, we fucked up. We're not going to take the bailout. Close up shop, start it over. Do not steal money from the taxpayers. Not a single bank did.
Well, no one's going to do that.
No one's going to do that, right?
No one will say no to
they
free
gave
money.
them the out.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to say like, hey, the banks
by,
didn't mean
by
to
the
do
way,
this.
it's not free money. It's all money.
It's our money. Yeah.
It's our money that was stolen. Which, by the way, it led to more inflation
Yeah.
because fucking they had to print more money that they stole from us.
Well, not to fast forward, they're still doing it today.
Yeah, our
Still
money is
happening.
continuously stolen. It's like the movie.
They're still writing shit loans.
If you want to talk about contributing factors, you have to go back to 1913 when the income tax gets implemented
Right, yeah.
and we get the Federal Reserve.
Right.
But the movie is just like nothing before 1977 with the swaps come.
Was this a millennial director?
Adam McKay, he's a boomer, I think, or Gen X.
Here's the thing, though. That's a lot. If you're going to really go that in depth, that's a lot to put into a movie where if it's just about these characters trading it,
How old is Adam McKay?
that's tough.
He's 57. Look, I don't think you need.
You really don't need it.
Look, that's me being
know?
kind of a nerd.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to know about the
You
federal.
do need to know the.
You need to know the other one.
1977 one. You do need
That
to
should
know.
have been put in a
And
quick
maybe you
minute.
could have paid some lip service again off the gold standard. But
Sure.
I digress.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm fired the fuck up, guys.
I love it. I love it. And it should fire you.
And,
It should fire
as
up
we
anyone.
go through the movie, there's things I wrote that are gonna fucking get me to go
Derail
off
you.
again.
Yeah, go off.
Go
King.
nuts.
Go off, King. Do you want to hop right in?
Let's fucking do it.
2015. This is an Oscar winner. Star-studded as any other movie you could find. There's a ton of people in
A lot
this.
of dudes in this.
What did
movie.
it
Lot of
win?
dudes. Oscar.
It won the best picture.
I believe so.
Don't
You
just
double
say
check.
Oscar.
Well, it said like Oscar winner on the
Yeah.
the
You didn't look
panel.
up.
I
You
didn't
didn't
look
look
up
up
what
what Oscar.
No, it just won an
Might be
Oscar.
best
It might be best
cinematography.
sound.
Yeah.
Best Fogel. I just look like a dick.
It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor. It won for Best Adapted Screenplay, which I think is probably just, and
Yeah.
it won for Best Film Editing.
The editing's fantastic in this. That's something
It
I wanted to
didn't
mention.
win for film editing. It was nominated for it. I'm sorry.
It's fantastic. I loved the style of this. I loved the colors, the transitions, everything about that was
Of Ryan
very
Reynolds
good.
narrations.
I liked it.
Ryan Reynolds?
Is that
It
his
was
name?
not
no,
Ryan
what's his
Reynolds.
name? Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. Don't
Gosling.
you dare insult Daddy Goss.
Sorry.
I call him Baby Goose around these parts.
They quote Mark. They quote
Gosling.
Baby Goose. They quote Mark Twain to start.
Yes.
It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. This is something that when it started, I was very confused about. I'm like, why are they throwing this in? And then as the movie went on, I was like, oh, this makes sense now.
Yeah.
I say the best part of this film, and you can disagree,
Is Christian Bale's drumming to Pantera.
is the metal. No, I loved the chaos behind a veil. So as this financial chaos is happening and these plays are being made, life is continuing. People are doing things. Products are being released. People are getting married. People are just in a park. People having marital problems. There's war. Like life is going on, and all of this is in the shadows. If you're not in the world, you don't know what's
don't
happening.
care.
It doesn't register to you. The average person has no fucking idea.
Well, I know. I was there. I definitely didn't register with me.
Oh, I was. This is why I was so fucked up as a teenager because I was living through this, and it's like, oh my god, you know, like
It definitely.
scary.
Do you remember the crash? How bad it like fucked up Applebee's though? Because we were working there. Like Applebee's like was pretty busy and successful before the crash.
Yeah.
And
Serious
after the
rip-off.
crash, it really slowed down.
I work with a number of guys who are former stock guys
Okay.
who got fired from, lost their jobs when this happened and had to go start a new career.
My father-in-law lost his job.
Yeah.
He was at
My father
Lehman.
lost his job. This actually cost
Where was he?
So my father was working
Merrill, right?
For he was working for Merrill. He worked for Mann. He worked for East Coast West Coast Trading. He worked for Pioneer. He went through the ringer of companies. He was a commodity trader. He got laid off because of pretty much this, and it cost us the house. So like, yeah, this directly affected.
Oh
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Oh
guys-
yeah.
They had to move.
Really, really rough times. So I made money off the crash. Not as much as these people, but not enough to save the house.
Should have big shorted.
Yeah.
I was short a couple of things, but
And-
I'll explain later on what I was.
What were you
about.
saying? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
We cut you off. About you have people you work with who were.
I said it.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, he said it. And this portrays the world very well. They said banking was always boring.
By the way, guy I work with knows his dad.
Everyone knows my dad.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You've mentioned him.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Everyone.
Yeah,
knows
he's like,
my
oh,
dad.
Bex. Yeah, we know him.
Everyone. Yeah. Don't.
Did you pull up the video clip, or like you were like, do you know?
So-
I
You
should
saw
have.
the
I didn't
clip?
do that.
but how do you go about? Do you know my friend's dad?
Yeah, because I knew
Okay.
what
He was
this guy
very-
did, and I knew
Okay.
what Beaver's dad
He was
did.
very well known by his badge name.
Yeah.
He was in multiple like newspaper clippings of him screaming because my dad looks like a scary man screaming, and they're like Wall Street in panic, and you see my dad yelling. Yeah, it was. It happened. I'll see if I can find that article. But they say a man, Michael Lewis, creates mortgage-backed securities, and it made them billions. So pretty much this whole entire concept of mortgage-backed securities and credit default swaps, all this, it's just taking out insurance on insurance on insurance, just piling it up to limit your loss. That's what it essentially boils down to.
How do you make money off that?
Well, you have to assume that nothing goes down. So the 2008 crash happened because all of these banks were forced to put out these crappy subprime mortgages, and then hedge them against their own insurance and other investments. Problem is, if the housing market goes down, you get hit and you have to pay out your insurers.
Now, when you say hedge them, you mean bundle them into one giant.
A hedge is, let's
CDO.
say, a hedge is just protecting my investment with another one, pretty much. So let's say gambling is a great example. You do like a spread,
It's like betting on every horse in the race.
or at least betting on the ones that have the most odds of winning. Or,
Bet
or
on the three favorites. Or,
yeah, the three favorites, you have better odds. Same thing. Or let's say you have a bet in sports, and then you realize, oh, another bet came up. If I do this, I can only lose $20. And my upward momentum is limited now to 50 instead of 100, like shit like that.
Or if you're at a not blackjack, you're at a roulette table and you bet on they break it into thirds. You bet on two of the three thirds.
Okay.
Right.
You know?
You're hedging
Right.
it. You're going to lose a little bit with that hedge,
No, you
but you're
hedge your
going to
bet.
protect a little.
I understand.
protect it. Yeah. So that's kind of what all this is. The only issue is if the market goes down, you get fucked on these swaps because it's insurance at an insane rate.
Well, you're stacking everything together. You
Yeah.
know? And it's like it's not it's really the Jenga thing that he does is a great
Yeah.
analogy.
Yeah, exactly. You have a lot of so you have companies that would specifically, like these huge insurance companies, were on the opposite end of these swaps because it's like, yeah, we're in the safe market. It's okay. We'll just sell people insurance at this low rate. They'll cover their funds there. They pay us a small amount, and we'll just be fine because we're massive. We're too big to fail. Haha. And you have Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, AIG. All of these companies, especially AIG, had billions and billions and billions of dollars, what they considered safe assets when they really
We're not.
Because
were not.
like they say
They
in
were
the
toxic
movie,
assets.
who the fuck doesn't pay their mortgage? And it's like people pay their mortgage when they can.
Right.
But it's like
But when inflation
when
happens,
inflation
when you
happens,
shouldn't. When you're a person that never should have had a mortgage to begin with.
exactly, it
They
gets
just
harder.
don't.
Exactly.
right? Why would I? Because
Right.
my credit's already going to get fucked because I didn't have the credit to begin with.
And all the laws are stacked to protect me from getting evicted.
Right. So there's a couple of analysts that did see this.
You gotta hate the poor.
You have to hate the ultras. The ultra poor and the ultra rich, hate them. Everyone else in between is fine.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Spectrums. Always hate the extremes. If you like metal, extreme metal is great, but when you go a little too far into like crazy
Now
black
you're
metal,
just noise.
now you're noise. Now I gotta hate you. You're welcome. Tip of the cap, internet. You gave a good analysis there. But a few analysis saw this coming. The entire commodity world saw this coming a mile away.
And why didn't they big short?
A lot of us did. So I think we have to explain for the audience what a short actually is, because it's very hard for people to conceptualize it. Because like, oh, big short. big person, small, like that. They don't understand this. So I'll do it in a stock terminology.
People that aren't involved in the stock market don't understand that it's literally just gambling.
It's gambling. It's advanced
That's all
gambling.
it is.
Yeah.
It's very advanced gambling with very, very complex mathematical techniques behind them and theories, because it's not like on a roulette table. There's a lot going on and a lot of calculus.
Depends
involved.
who you are, like Dave Portnoy. I saw him
He got shellacked so many times.
But he's also, there's been times where he's made a shitload.
Of course.
Where it's like, he just looks, he's like, fucking, I like this stock. And he
like
just
this.
goes and buys it. And like, sometimes it fucking goes up.
Of
And
course.
like,
So
he's like, this shit's easier than betting on sports.
So let's talk about what a short position is in a market. Because they explain it, but
You're not Margot Robbie in a bathtub
I'm not Margot Robbie.
We should put Steve in a bathtub.
drinking champagne.
Cigar, champagne, naked. So let's say you have a
His
stock,
dick is
right?
popping out.
Let's say I have a stock.
Yeah.
In order to profit off this stock, I buy it at $10. Well, if the stock goes to $20 and I sell it for $20, I make a $10 profit. Hooray. That is just a long position. When you're long, you bought something and you're holding it. So, I'm long gold. I have a contract to buy gold at $100. The
By the
contract,
concept of gold, not literal gold.
not
You're not
literal
gonna-
gold.
you're not
No,
gonna
no,
get the balloons.
So that, I'll get into that.
Right.
Okay, give us I have to explain the basics first.
Right.
So, but even if, let's say I do have physical gold, I buy it at 100 and it goes to 200 and I sell it. That's what it is.
Yeah, he sells the physical gold.
But let's say I'm like, wow, this stock is trading like $1,000. It's not worth $1,000. It's worth like $6. It's gonna go down. It's gonna go down. Now in the stock market, you can't just like short stuff. There's other ways to do it. But that's what essentially it would be. I want to sell this stock at $1,000. So when it goes down, I buy it back at $800. I make $200 on that short sale. I'm essentially saying I'm betting on the market going down. You're not allowed to do that in certain aspects, but in certain markets, like a regular stock market, you can't just go in and be like, I want to sell this. You need permissions and funds, because if you think about it, if I buy something and it goes to zero, I'm only losing the initial investment. If I sell something and it keeps going up, in theory, it's infinite loss value,
Which is what happened with the GameStop stock.
which is the GameStop stock. Yes.
Because they shorted it, right? All these like big hedge funds shorted it, and all these little guys
We're like, fuck this.
were like, fuck this,
Yeah.
and they all
I'll invest
bought it.
$100. Why not?
And they all bought it and pumped it up,
Right.
which forced these companies to have to keep
Hey.
eating the losses until the government
Right.
cheated and bailed them out again, because the system is fucking
Completely
corrupt.
rigged,
And
yeah.
let's say somebody's not understanding how that works. Just a quick example. I sell something at
How did they find out that they were all shorting GameStop?
you can't hide your investments legally. You're not.
So
everything has to be public.
They just realized that GameStop is failing, and these companies were like, all right, well, GameStop's failing, so we're going to profit off it.
Yes.
So they were just like, fuck this, let's all get them.
Yes.
We're going to drive this company in the ground by shorting it. All the money is betting against it.
Yeah.
Investors look at that and they're like, I'm not going to invest in the stock.
I'll do the
Now, it
opposite.
just so happens that one fucking weirdo online,
Organized.
he didn't even
Thousands of
he didn't-
people.
He just said it was a good stock.
He did a blog that was like that. There's a movie about dumb money, which we could do too. But and it's pretty accurate. He basically was like a guy about our age who liked GameStop as a kid.
Right.
Was like and he would do like these videos that would get like 20 views. He did this video one day explaining like, I like the GameStop stock. I have warm memories of it. I like the stock, and he just bought it.
Yeah.
He posted it to fucking
Reddit.
r/Wall Street Bets. People were like, fucking, yeah.
Let's get them.
And they all fucking jumped in, and it became this thing where it's like, then you had people jumping on because they saw that Wall Street was getting fucked.
Yeah.
And it's
It
like,
just grew and grew and grew.
and it's like, we all want. Who doesn't want to take it to one of these hedge funds that that drive companies to death?
Right.
Like for every GameStop that like the one time it didn't work, they've killed millions of companies by shorting them.
Right.
So it's like they were getting their comeuppance, and people joined in,
and loved it.
and like no one was selling, so they were never able to get out of their positions.
And no one had to get shot. No one had to walk out of a
Yeah.
hotel and get
Right.
murdered.
Yeah,
So let's say, and how these losses really stack up. I just want to like drive it home.
Yeah.
Let's say a stock is trading $100 and you buy it at 100 and it goes to zero. You lost $100. But let's say I sell it at 100. I go short a stock option and say like, yeah, this is going down. I sell it at 100. All of a sudden it goes to $200 and I don't have $200 in my account. So I'm now out $100, negative 100. I don't have that money. Well, then it goes to $300. Now I'm negative $200. Now it goes to 1,000. Now I'm negative $900. Holy hell, what am I going to do? I don't even have that in my bank account. Well, I need to trade on margin, which is like, yeah, if you go negative, you're allowed to go to this amount and you will be covered. So if you remember, the guys in the movie were trying to get that license to trade heavy options.
Oh, yes.
This way
That's why. Because if they short $30 million, they have to, that's in a bank somewhere. That's in a clearinghouse that is managing that money. They could blow out the clearinghouse because let's say they short something $30 million and it skyrockets. Well, now they're out $3 billion. Whose money is that? Well, wherever that is. Maybe it's in a clearinghouse. Maybe it's in a bank. Maybe it's in a government fund. Maybe it's in treasuries, bonds, wherever you have it.
It's in Mary's house and George's.
Somebody's got to pay for it. And guess what? You get screwed. That's why shorting is so dangerous and why it's advanced gambling.
Yeah.
Just simply buying and investing is whatever. That's not going to give you the most. That's going to just lose whatever you invest. And that's how it happened. And what you do is a good indicator is the options. So options are just betting on the future price of something. So it's like, oh, I think the stock's going to go to $100. I'm going to put a bet that it's going to go to $100 in 2 months.
Yep.
If it does, great, I make money. If not, I lose it. Well, you could do that short position, and if it keeps going, your ass is going negative in options. Like, you're going to get screwed. And that's kind of what happened here because credit default swaps can go negative.
Negative, yep. Yeah. All right. So, should we start the movie?
Yeah, we already did.
All right. Banking was boring. Louis Ranieri. Is that his name? He started the AAA bonds.
Christian Bale.
I
Just
didn't
skip
write
to
it.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
That's Berry.
So, yeah.
Michael Burry.
Michael Burry.
He's one of the head traders at Scion Capital.
And he likes to drum.
Yes.
Likes metal. He has one eye.
Yeah.
He's a weirdo.
He's a weird, like, autist.
And he sees something. It's the highest.
He is a doctor.
Yeah, he's a doctor, PhD.
MD.
Highest mortgage fraud rates since the 30s.
Yes.
Which is, as we all know,
The Great Depression.
the Great Depression.
Right.
In fact, Ben Bernanke, who was, I believe, the chairman of
The Fed, I
the
think.
Fed at the time, said that if we didn't bail out the banks, it would have been the Great Depression, but even worse. It would have been like
Probably.
pretty much
Yeah.
ended. A lot of the major countries in the world would have ended. Like you wouldn't have been able to buy groceries. It was that level of bad.
So we should have bailed out the banks, is what you're saying.
I think
They're too big to fail, is what you're saying.
That's what they said. I personally, I would have just let them fail and hit the reset
I read
button.
Bush's book, Decisions Points, and he's again, and I already said he fucked up with.
This is his take.
I already said he fucked up with what happened in 2002 with his policy, but like he gets blamed because 2008 happened
Under
under
his watch.
If it's February 2009. We look at this completely differently. It's like it's like 3 months that change everything. But in his book Decision Points, he talks about the book is phenomenal. Like regardless of politics, he talks about every major thing that happened
From
in
his
his presidency. And he talks about this was my thought process of how I approached the decision. So he's like, when all the banks started crashing in 2008, he goes, my first instinct was to let everything fail. He goes, that's what I believe.
Right.
They did this. They fucked up. They failed. They should pay the price. And he's like, I thought about it. And I read this years ago, so I'm probably fucking this up. But he's like, I thought about it. I got all these advice. I heard from all these people. I put all these things. And he was like, for the betterment of people, I think we got to bail out the banks. And that was his decision.
Country's still here.
Whether it was the right decision, I don't think it was. I think you should have let them all fail and then fixed it from there because all he really did was just inflate the problems for
Prolong
later.
it.
Yeah.
He kicked the can down the road.
Yeah, which is all we ever do in this country.
Yeah. Burry's listening to Mastodon. Blood and Thunder. We meet Steve Carell's character, Mark Baum. He's a very angry management guy. He's head of a fund.
Well, you see him in an anger management therapy session.
Yeah.
And he just takes over.
Yeah. He's based
I want
off
to talk
Steve
to
Eisman.
Mr. Soup Dio. He sounds like that guy.
Are you the manager? You're not the manager.
He's based off Steve Eisman.
Steve Carell went so Jewish with this.
Yeah.
As he should have.
I know.
Yeah.
He's really doing it, though.
He nails it, dude. I've met people like that constantly.
You're at a table with one.
Every single person.
You are not that guy.
You're not, yeah. Every single
I'm not
person
that
you see in this movie, they are a caricature of real life. Like, I've met all of them.
Are you the Bale?
No.
I'm very close to
weird
Bale. I was
metal
very
guy?
close to Bale. I was listening to that metal in my headphones. I didn't have the audacity to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't.
Well, it wasn't your, you didn't have the power he did.
Oh, if I was the head desk guy, yeah, that was me. Yeah. I wasn't the head desk guy though. So, but he wants to short the housing market, and the only way he could do that is pitch a credit default swap to these banks.
Yes.
Because they don't exist yet.
Yeah, no one's thought to do this.
He has to invent it.
Now, I believe it was Lehman Brothers in '94 who started the credit default swap system. You could double check my thought process behind that. I know it's '94, but I don't know if it was Lehman or someone else.
The first credit default swap was invented by J.P. Morgan team in '94.
J.P. Morgan. Okay. Yeah. So that is like
The House of Morgan.
Oh, if I'm gonna take insurance out just in case somebody defaults on their mortgage, and then you pay me. So essentially, what Burry did was pitch this to those banks to say, hey, you have a lot of quote unquote safe mortgages that they think that I will.
From their perspective, it's just free money for them.
Free money. They're going to charge
just going to rob this guy.
Yeah.
2 to 3% on
is.
something that's never going to pay out.
They're gonna laugh all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
It's like if I bet you,
Which isn't far.
It's as if I'm from the bank's perspective, it's like I'm betting you tomorrow that cheeseburgers are gonna come from the sky.
Yeah.
It's like, of
very
course,
much.
you would take that bet all day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because their actual mortgages are tied with these security funds. So like your AAA mortgages are in a security, your BBB mortgages are in a different security. So you could bet on the specific security that you think is going to fail, and he's just betting on subprimes. Well, subprimes are bundled to the point where they're just making like, even if they lose 15% of their investment, they're probably making 25% back anyway for these mortgages for the people who do pay. So in their eyes, it's like, all right, if you want to take on some of this debt,
In your eyes.
and just that's fine. You just pay us the percentage, you know?
Yep.
And he nailed it.
He was right.
Man, he nailed it.
But too early.
He's
No, he wasn't too early
he's
at
right
all.
on
He was
time.
right on time. It's just he had
just
to take
had
a
to
loss.
ride the wave.
Yeah, he had to take a loss first,
For about a year.
which is terrifying.
Longer because he starts in 2005.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah. So then the movie cuts to Margot Robbie in a hot tub.
I hate this. I disliked this.
Why?
This line: Wall Street doesn't use terms like Wall Street uses terms to confuse the average person. It's like no,
I agree.
I don't think so. I think that it's like any other business. You just have to learn the
You gotta learn the
terminology.
jargon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
all.
I think
They're
it's
not
like
hiding it.
anything.
But it is a jargon.
But they're
It's
not gatekeeping
It's
it.
not regular English. It's a language in itself.
Of course, but that's any legal language.
Yeah, but that's like any
Exactly, which is why lawyers exist, because they learn the secret code. Like,
But it's
But they're not gatekeeping it away from the average
it's like
person.
it's not like you can't learn it.
right.
right.
It's available.
I
You just don't
understand
want to.
But they make it overly complicated on purpose. To say they don't is ridiculous. Of
I don't
course they
think
do.
it's on purpose. I think
not on
it's just
purpose, yeah.
by necessity. It has to be because you're talking about I invest in this, which then invests in this, and like all these different things. It's
the
have to be
fact that
very
you can
specific.
sit here, he can sit here and explain it in plain English, shows that it is in fact a language on itself that is intended to keep someone who doesn't out of it, who just speaks
Yeah, but
plain.
I'm using the plain English to do a broad brushstroke when we need to actually be specific in the field. I don't want to use
yeah.
that broad brushstroke. You know?
basically
No,
every-
yeah, the jargon exists for a reason. I understand.
I'm just saying.
But it is a gatekeeping mechanism. It is.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. I think it's
it
a
is.
legal thing where it's like,
Which is
All right.
also the legal jargon is the same exact thing. They make
no.
legalese, which is a term.
That's a real word.
It exists to keep the common man out. So that you have to go to the sacred halls and become a lawyer, so that a lawyer can fucking interpret all the fucking.
No, I think it's because you need complicated language and phrases to sort out complex things.
Yeah, it's not like okay. I don't know about trains.
Trains also have a jargon.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Would it be impossible for me to learn that
Of
jargon?
course, nothing is impossible for you to learn.
Or
You're
hold
not-
on, wait,
you're
let me not say impossible. Are they purposely naming those things in the parts of the train to make it complicated for the average person to know about it?
No, because that's a world that is completely separated from the average man. The average man could very easily be a part of the Wall Street world or the legalistic world.
It's the same thing with
You can't
vehicles, is it
operate
not?
heavy machinery.
You have a
as
car?
It's not. We're not talking about cars. Cars do not have a jargon.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Okay, tell me about it.
Explain to me what a catalytic converter does in detail.
With a
I'm
broad
not-
brushstroke. You have one. Broad brushstroke it, bro. Go ahead.
Don't they? Don't they regulate emissions?
I couldn't fucking tell you.
I think
don't know.
they regulate the emissions of the car.
I don't know a single goddamn thing about my car.
There you go.
But I bet. But they put computers in the cars to keep you out of it. They do. Everyone in the 70s worked on their own car. If you asked an older person, he'd tell you what the catalytic converter did. But you and I brought it in an age where we're not allowed to touch the car.
No.
Yes.
We're allowed to touch the car.
You're not allowed to touch the car.
We were not.
You forfeit warranties. You need computerized shit to like tap into it. You can't go in there and
you have
just
a lease.
change.
Get him has one that
If you
can
have a
tap
lease,
into
yeah.
my car right now. We did it the other day
Yeah,
to
you could
read
do
a
that.
code.
Yeah.
It's just
I bet you get him knows what a catalytic converter does.
get him.
But that's like
Again, you
it's
also have to
their-
remember that
what
they
they're
had
saying.
shop classes in high school where you were
Yeah.
like they trained you to do stuff.
Exactly.
But that's not.
they have colleges that teach you economics.
Exactly.
But you don't have to go to college to learn the economics. You can
You
still
don't
learn
have
it.
to do it. You
I
can
don't have to
put
go
the
to
time in
mechanic
to learn
school.
anything.
I don't have to go to like a mechanic trade school to learn about my car. It's the
you're literally
same-
making my point.
Yeah, but that's not them gatekeeping it. They're saying they are gatekeeping it on
The language
they're
used
creating language
in law, specifically law, is written so that the average person cannot understand it.
That's not why.
Yes, it is. That's why they write laws
No,
the way they do.
it's-
That's why
not
they
the
meet in the middle of the night to
because
pass
it's the requirement
You're
of
talking,
complexity.
you're talking about different things.
Yeah.
You're talking about two different things. You're talking about shady, corrupt, governmental bills, like
Writing
with-
fluff pieces.
which-
We're not talking about fluff pieces. We're talking about language. Fluff bills. We're not talking about
My
fluff
guy.
bills.
We're not talking about 10,000-page things
Yeah.
stuffed with pork that
Yeah,
are
I am.
insane.
But that's not what I'm talking.
but
That's not what I'm talking
That's
about.
not a gatekeeping
They're
language.
one and the same.
No, they're not.
Because things are written in that way to prevent certain loopholes
Right.
and things like that.
You
like,
need complexity.
Create loopholes.
Otherwise, there would be no reason to have complexity in anything. Why don't we just use like one word for everything?
Which word would you use?
John.
neither of us missed a beat.
Point proven. You get it now? Yeah, we need complexity in a word so we know the fuck we're talking about. That plastic bottle has a difference between that plastic bottle. A ridged plastic bottle has a difference between the smooth plastic bottle. That's just the complexity of words to explain complex ideas.
I know.
So then it's not gatekeeping.
It's not.
It is.
It's not. That's what I'm disagreeing about with this movie.
You think like when like the founding fathers were establishing colleges in the country, they're like, and it is very
No, they weren't.
But legal language has always existed as a more complex thing.
What's the difference
that's
between a
in
contract
depth.
and a futures contract?
I don't know.
Okay, well, in this world, the economic world, a contract is a deal between me and you, like me and you. It's a deal between two people that agree upon terms. A futures contract is a agree upon of terms for a future date. Meaning when I trade futures, I'm saying, hey, here's a contract that I'm going to be allowed to buy this commodity at this price.
Yes.
You could sell this commodity at this price. So if me and you, right now, we can make a trade to say, in February of next year, I'm going to sell you oil at $100. That's a future contract.
Right.
That's not gatekeeping. That's just a requirement. Because if I say, it's just a contract, well, there could be a lot of confusion with contracts, right?
Yes.
That's all it is. This isn't like Wall Street is like seeing like we need a new word for this because we don't want the average person to do this. That's what they're saying.
I'm not saying anyone got in a room together and figured this out.
But
that's what they're saying.
But it's to call something a credit default swap.
Right.
Sounds complex.
All right, whatever.
But
Can we move on?
No, real quick, because to call something a credit default swap, to us it sounds like a complex thing.
Right.
But it actually makes sense if you break it down
the
what
simple
they're talking
forms, yes.
about.
Right.
Because you have credit. If it defaults, you're swapping it against this.
Right. I don't want to say that every time.
My beef is mainly with legalese.
Sure. Here's the thing. Margot Robbie does a good job of this.
She's hot.
She's hot in a bathtub.
This is peak hotness for her.
And I kind of like, they're like, here, dummies. This is what's really happening. That's what they're saying.
I like that I like the movie explains things well.
With famous people.
Yes.
They take the time to do it.
Yeah.
Marissa Tomei.
Marissa
Fine
Tomei.
wine herself.
Yes. Mark did pretty good for himself.
Who's Mark?
Yeah. Mark
Carrell?
Baum is Steve Carell. He
I
loves his
could
job.
not think of his real name while watching this movie.
Steve Carell?
It just wouldn't
Were you
come
calling
to
him
me.
Michael Scott?
I just kept calling him Michael Scott.
They needed a scene in this where like he gets his foot stuck on a George Foreman grill. Or the best episode of the show is Dinner Party.
I don't,
You ever saw that one?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's so Michael Scott and his girl.
I've only seen a few.
Okay, this episode's amazing. Michael Scott and his new fiance are having they're having
A dinner party?
a
Dinner
dinner
party,
party,
yeah.
and they're having Jim and Pam come over, and his home life is chaos.
Yeah.
But the centerpiece is he has a TV that's like 13 inches.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I got a new plasma screen. And
It's
he's
tiny?
Pulled
It's
out.
tiny, and he's standing in front of it. He's like, look, it moves. And like he
pulls
pulls
it
it out. And it moves like from here to here. And he's just standing in front of it. It's so fucking
I
funny.
love The Office. It's great.
Office is great.
Yeah, it's great. We find out Mark lost his brother, so he has some inner turmoil here. And now Burry is now doing the pitch to Goldman.
Yes.
And he's like, hey, let's do like, they're like, yeah, we'll take like $5 million. He's like, let's do 100. And they're like,
Yeah, okay.
are you serious? Because he's going to pay like, what, 15 to 20% fees on that?
Yep.
Like he's paying $20 million a year?
Yeah.
It's like insane.
And this is the thing. So he goes, I'm just worried you guys won't pay if you go buried up,
Right.
belly up.
Right.
So I need in my thing like a guarantee that you'll pay.
Because they might
Not exist.
not exist. And it's
Yeah.
Goldman, by the way.
And they're like, okay,
which is
sure.
like, they own half the world.
Yeah. Sure, buddy. Yeah, well, we're going away.
And Bank of America, Bear Stearns, all of these institutions they just accepted it. They're like, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Now, he had the power, as we see later in the movie, to just lock out all his investors and just take control of their shit.
He did not know.
That was crazy, right?
That's how you get jail time.
But he did it. Was that fake?
It's to buy time. Or, well, he could lock it out, like temporarily lock out the account,
Well,
but
in the movie,
you're going to
he
go to jail.
says, in the movie, he said, we have a special provision with this fund that gives me full immunity.
Yeah.
And you guys got to just fucking
Trust
Right.
me.
Trust me.
You're not getting away with that. If he failed, let's say he lost money on this deal, his
He
ass
would be in jail.
is going to jail.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he put a lot on this because he created the actual concept of it.
Right.
And listen, this guy's fucking PhD genius. I'm sure he had his
Right.
his
He had his
bases
shit
covered.
figured out.
But when
to
you're
say he
going
wasn't
against,
risking a lot of his own personal well-being is,
Yeah.
of course he was.
yeah, he could have Yeah, he could have been in a bad way.
Well, his
got
whole
burned.
business could have went under. You know.
The whole firm.
That's the least of your worries when you're dealing with that kind of money.
Well, yeah.
You would have took a bullet in the
He
head.
could have been like
He
fucking
would have got a
George.
couple.
We got Luigi.
A couple of Luigis would have shown up.
Or he could have been George Bailey'd.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. Where's that money?
Now,
I don't know. He's got strings tied to his fingers.
now he puts Barry puts 1.3 billion on the line,
Yep.
which is an insane amount for any fund to put at risk. Like
I just don't know
Not
how he
that
was
bad.
able to keep this up for 2 years straight without somebody stopping him.
I think that they played into the fact that he had pressure. I think nobody's given the green light for him to do this unless they read the proposal and did it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, he definitely.
he it wasn't like, oh,
like,
what are we gonna
pitched
do?
this,
Yeah,
right? It wasn't like
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
went and did it.
So from what I heard on the street, I hate to say that term, I actually don't like it, but it's true. He actually thought that they sold the position and was on vacation, and he went to take out money from his bank account and saw $50 million in his personal bank account. Like he didn't know that they made money. They made money. He was away.
Oh, the day
Yeah,
it happened.
yeah. When they actually got out of the position, that's what I heard. But that's
Okay.
that's like
That seems a little.
that could be him or a million other people.
I can't imagine he's like.
Well,
Like he sees all the shit happening.
I don't know
he's
if
like,
it was him
"I'm going away."
or if it was.
Doesn't
a
50
a
mil
separate
seem
investor.
light?
They made $489 million. That's fucking 10%
That's it?
of the fuck. Go make $1 million.
You just told me they risked 1.3 billion.
Yeah,
Why didn't they make 1.3 billion at least?
because it's not 100% return.
There's also taxes.
It's not 100% return.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you're not.
I just assumed
It's not one for one.
that
It's
you
not one
risk
for
you
one,
risk
no.
all that money. I assume you make more than that back.
No. That's
Sorry, I'm retarded.
All right. So
well. I think he made. I think after his entire performance, he was up 2.6 billion from the trade. I think.
well, they have he has a smart board throughout the movie, and like throughout the movie he's writing like negative 90%,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like if shit's going bad, and at the end he's plus like 480% on the trade.
On that trade, then he buys the market on the low, and he ends
Yeah.
up making like $2.6 billion total with everything said and done.
So he buys all these loans. He's gonna get screwed, and now we're introduced to Baby Goose, Jared Vennett,
Yes.
the
Goose.
Gosling.
the Gosling,
He
and
finds out about the play.
he finds out about it. We are also there's the shot of the Adam Smith book, which
Yeah.
is irrelevant. Just anyway, so they're like, okay. By the way, there's a weird thing where like we see Steve Carell's group of traders, right? Like his hedge fund guys talking about balls, and the movie has to give you so much information. Like we gotta just show you a diagram of this guy's testicles.
Hysterical.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
Well, the movie is like the cool guy version of this.
Yeah.
that is an office. That's any office
Yeah.
job. That's what's going on if there's no people to insult. That's real. Even when there are people to insult. On Wall Street, it's way worse than that, but that's very accurate where you're just sitting around waiting for something to happen or bullshitting. That's actually how the best ideas are happening, when you're just bullshitting like
Yeah.
that and you bring something up. So that was, I've seen that office a million times. I was in that office.
So this is real.
What about selling with biscuits?
What?
What the fuck is?
Selling what biscuits?
No.
Are you having a
Magnets?
stroke?
No, the fucking
Magnets.
no, the scene in The Sopranos when Christopher's running the fucking office and he's got those guys. He's supposed to sell with biscuits or whatever it is.
I don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't remember. It's been so long.
Or whatever.
It's fine. Well, they say this is true. Jared's assistant calls
Yep.
and slips the information. I know. It's
Yeah.
bothering him
I'm sorry.
It's okay. By accident,
by accident.
he calls Steve Carell's office, and now they're intrigued.
This has happened for whether it's phone calls, just passing by.
Because you're dealing with its extensions, people are all on the same
Thousands of
floor.
people,
building.
hundreds of thousands of people working on this shit. There's 5,000 people
Yep.
in one room sometimes. Like, it's crazy. And like the trading floor was thousands of people.
Right.
There was even one time where we heard that a company was caught. What's company? I think it was Black. Was it Black? No, it wasn't BlackRock. Doesn't matter. They were caught in a natural gas spread on the wrong side, and we got wind of it, and a lot of people in the building took that opposite side, and they blew out. Their entire hedge fund got wiped out, like $300 million.
Just for the record, he's not talking about an actual natural gas leak that wiped out a bunch of people.
No, natural gas trade. It's the March-April natural gas spread.
They're on the wrong side of the natural gas.
We lit it.
It was so that's one of the dangerous time periods that you can invest in energy markets is March-April, because the season will change, and it's called the Widowmaker, because people kill themselves after.
Steven's office experience is like that whitest kid sketch with the sniper.
Yeah. They put a sniper on the roof. It's a smart move. It's the right move. They don't want this deal to go through either.
I don't think I remember that one.
It's
really
so good.
funny.
Reminds me.
Could you pop your head out? So they call him meeting with Ryan Gosling, and they explain that defaults are mortgage rates are down 3% over years. It's the Jenga scene, right?
Yeah.
Default rates are at 4%. Me and Steve looked it up today because I was curious. Default rates are currently at 3.5%.
That's wow.
So
Not good.
get ready.
If it hits 8, we all die. This was one of the funny scenes in the movie.
So what? We got to put up with this every fucking 20 years?
It's gonna keep happening.
That's how they steal our money.
Until 1977 is repealed. Yeah.
That's how they steal our
And they'll
money.
just keep getting bailed out again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah. The
Well,
rich get
that's
richer, bro.
annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be angry at this movie. Not at the movie, but like what they tell you.
Yang.
This is so fucking funny.
Oh,
That's
the
my
Asian
quant.
guy?
What's your quant? That's my quant.
I have a Chinese guy.
He doesn't even speak English.
Yeah.
That's first place in a math competition.
He turns to the camera. My
I
name's
speak
like
English.
Jim.
Jamie.
I was born in Ohio.
I came second place in the math competition. He just doesn't let me speak because it's legit. It seems more legit.
Yeah.
That's real. Quant is a quantitative analysis. So you're just a mathematician / analyst. You just figure out hard problems. It's your job.
And they talk about CDOs and they explain them with the Jenga blocks.
With Anthony Bourdain.
Yes.
That guy.
Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
Every
Rest in peace.
hipster's favorite.
Rest
He
in peace.
sucks so bad. He sucks so fucking hard, that guy.
Yep.
Not the biggest fan.
Did a good job of explaining CDOs there.
Yeah. I met his wife.
Did you?
Yeah, she was nice.
Did you fuck her?
Imagine it came out I cucked Anthony Bourdain.
No, he watched. Yeah. He loved it.
What if I cucked Anthony Bourdain and like that was why
That's
he
why
killed?
he killed himself?
Yeah. And like I
And
was
you
the-
just haven't said a word about it this whole time.
for like 20 years.
It's been 20 years. It's been like 6.
Oh, okay.
No. It's been a while.
I mean, he was alive when this movie came out. That was 2015.
Yeah.
It's 10 years ago.
All right, if I kept it secret for a decade until right this moment.
That you fucked Anthony Bourdain's
That's why he
wife, and
killed
that's why he
himself?
killed himself.
Yeah.
I would forgive you,
That
but
would
I'd
be
be
fucking
really,
amazing.
I'd forgive you, but
I mean, the show would have to do numbers, right?
yeah.
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 I fucked Anthony Bourdain's wife, and that's why he killed himself.
And now we're sued for defamation.
No, I did meet her, though. She was very nice. I was
Yeah.
doing jiu-jitsu with her. at,
Was
like,
he
a
still
thing.
alive?
He
You were
was.
doing jujitsu with Anthony Bourdain's wife, and
You fucked him.
you fucked Anthony Bourdain's
Oh my
wife.
God.
You know, I don't know. Gentleman does talk.
You haven't done jujitsu in a really long time, so now I'm.
Well, this was 2014, you know. It was the New York MMA Expo. I was working it. There was the
You
training.
were doing jujitsu at an MMA expo.
There was the training with the master seminar, you know.
He's not a master. He fucked Anthony Bourdain's wife.
Oh my God. This is crazy.
You're the reason Anthony's dead. Was it because he was a blue belt and you're like, you're a bitch, you beat him and he couldn't?
He couldn't
Now,
cope.
now I'm going to fuck your wife.
Oh, fuck your
And he was like, yeah, I like that. I want to watch.
wrong to speak ill of the dead.
Not that guy. He sucked.
People are going to be so mad at you for that.
I don't care.
I wasn't a big fan either. That's why I did what I did.
So Mark wants in on this short. He's like, yeah, Jared's right. I let's look into it. Let's just do some research. Do your own research. You know what I mean?
That's what my dad says.
That's what your dad.
Oh, I have to mention this. I wrote this. This is something that enraged me in the movie.
You lost your shit?
Yeah. They go, it's the bank's fault for student loan debt.
When did they say that?
They have a line where they specifically, because they're trying to blame the banks for all the evil in the world, and they go, it's the bank's fault for student debt. Not the fact.
Not the colleges.
Yeah, not the government.
Not the fact that the government federally guaranteed student loans for people that you're not allowed to declare bankruptcy on. The only loans in the goddamn country you can't declare bankruptcy loans. You can't declare bankruptcy on are student loans. They federally backed it, so you have to be approved for a loan, basically. So there's no.
So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, which is why if you look at there's charts you can look at. I'll pull one up here. If you look at the industries that the government has been involved with since they started meddling with them, and you look at the ones they haven't been involved with, you'll see the prices go in two different directions.
Right.
Cars, TVs, all electronics were super expensive. The government stopped fucking with them. They all went down.
Right.
Medical, they started fucking with that.
Yeah.
Housing, they started fucking with that. Colleges, they started fucking with that. And the prices skyrocketed. Yep. And it's to say it's the bank's fault is such horseshit because there's no risk assessment done. Let's say you wanted
the bank, it just does what it does.
It does what it is.
It lends money.
And it also does what it is forced to do. Because it's like, let's say you in 1930, right? We're going to college.
I'm going to get me an education.
Yeah. And you walk in and you're like, I want a degree in basket weaving.
Okay.
That's the degree I want. That's what my future's in, baskets.
Yeah.
And you go. And you go to the bank and you're like, hey, I want a loan for this. And like, oh, what are you studying, Sonny? And you go, basket weaving.
They go, no.
No, you're never going to pay that back. Now, Steve goes and he goes to college and he's like, I want to study fucking
Indigenous
women's study of trannies.
Or lesbian.
Indigenous woman slipper making.
Or lesbian dance theory, whatever.
Right.
And Steve goes and studies that.
$300,000 loan.
How is he expected to pay back $1 million loan potentially, if depending on the university? No answer. But it's federally backed, and he can never declare bankruptcy on.
Well, you're now a slave.
So
once again, you need to hate the poor.
Yeah,
that's what it all comes back to. It's the person taking out that
or
ridiculous
just hate the government because they're forcing you to.
But they're forcing
loans,
the banks and to do this, and
it's the ultras. He's right again.
And
Steve fucking.
Very rare that I'm wrong.
He's hitting home runs.
And here's the thing: the colleges, like any business, right? So I want you to picture this real quick. Imagine you're a restaurant, right? I pass the federal cheeseburger bill, which guarantees.
Brian is obsessed with cheeseburgers.
I love a cheeseburger.
We didn't have dinner. We're still waiting to have dinner.
But
we'll get you a cheeseburger.
I passed the federal cheeseburger bill, which guarantees the government.
Onions don't touch the tomatoes.
Yes.
That's a big race.
It's a big race.
Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry.
But the federal cheeseburger bill guarantees that the government will back any price you have to pay for a cheeseburger that you can declare.
Tomatoes are about.
We know what men like.
Tomatoes are about that thick. About that thick.
I picked the wrong analogy. So you have this shop, right? And you know that no matter what you charge, the government is going to back this loan.
Right.
So you start slowly.
This is the colleges now.
This is the college. Yeah. You start charging more and more for a product because you don't need to compete. And Steve, who is also fucking a cheeseburger thing,
I'm fucking cheeseburgers
is just going to match the
Anthony
price.
Bourdain watching, like, yeah, you do that.
I'm cucking his line cooked. And he likes it.
Oh, yeah. I'm a world traveler. Ooh.
I'm going to Mongolia to eat dirt.
Douchebags think I'm profound.
What's wrong with Mongolia?
No, but
This is what it's all about. Just sitting in Thailand,
Eating
drinking a
half-
Mai Tai, telling white people they're evil.
Eating half-rotten goat. There's nothing wrong with that.
so
Anyway, I'm going to hang myself. I'm glad you got something out of this life, Bourdain.
Going to hell.
So now Steve is also a burger restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Now the government will back his loans, so he doesn't have to compete against you.
Right.
Whereas
Yeah.
in
So
a
he just charges just as much.
just as much.
Yeah.
Whereas in a free market system, what would happen is you would have your price, he
Right.
would have his price, and it would adjust based on quality or whatever.
We
We're like,
can lower it if we
yeah,
need to.
prestige, like a prestigious unit,
Yes.
like Harvard should cost more than CSI.
You'd
Yeah.
think.
You know,
Right.
and it still does, but the government's going to back it no matter what it costs.
Yeah.
You know,
An education that costs $35,000 is costing $95,000. you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a giant fucking scam, and I just hate that the movie's like the banks made colleges more expensive. It's like, no, you're a fucking liar. You're goddamn like the movie. The movie is
Message.
true and it has a lot of good shit, but it clearly has a fucking point that the director wants to make.
Yes.
And a lot of it is rooted in lies.
Fraudulent.
Yes. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I said this one, I may be on the soapbox.
You got it.
Okay.
So we meet Jamie and Charlie. There's some young
Say all you
guns-
want. They're all going to focus on Bourdain. Don't
Exactly.
worry.
Exactly. There's some young guns. They turned.
Oh, boy.
Wow, wow.
They turned, I think, $110,000 into $30 million. But it's just two guys in a garage, just taking
And a pizza
insane
place.
risks. But they've been making risky trades. They usually take the ones that people don't believe.
Yeah.
And
I
They
like
want-
I like that they
Yeah.
explain their theory of how they do it.
yeah,
They say people don't like to think about bad things happening, so they always just bet on bad things happening and they make money.
there's a term for that. They are bears.
They're
So if you're a
bears.
bull, you want
you
the
watch
market to
people
go up.
fuck your wife.
No, you want.
Oh no,
your-
you
No,
fuck
you
someone.
fuck someone
You
else.
fuck someone else's wife.
And bear,
and
you just have gay sex.
Exactly.
And it's
bears
all
gay
fat.
sex.
Yeah.
So the bulls want the market
Can you
to
be
go
a
up.
bear bull?
You shouldn't always be bearish. These guys, I highly doubt they've only been bearish ever. They
That's probably movie
it's
shit,
just
but
movie shit. Yeah. They want an ISDA agreement for options.
Yes.
Remember what I told you before?
Yeah.
$30 million seems like a lot in the options market, but this requires $1.5 billion.
because they're letting you go beyond.
Right. You need to be able to cover
Yeah.
serious losses. So
And XM gains.
Yes.
yes.
They find a prospectus there, which the movie tells you is bullshit. That didn't happen. But they're like, there's only one thing we could do in this situation to get an ISDA. We got to call Brad Pitt.
Yeah, we need Ben. What's his name? Ben?
Ben Rickert.
Ben Ricker?
He's into seeds.
Seeds are the new currency. He's
I
like a hippie guy.
Fucking love Ben.
I knew you would love Ben.
He has 14 phone lines because he's scared people are listening.
This is like the kind of roles that Brad Pitt just loves. He
Always
eats this
eating.
shit up.
Brad Pitt's a character actor in a leading man's body.
You're
Yes.
so right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he likes playing like 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
Like
Burn after
Yeah.
reading.
it's like you're Brad Pitt. You don't need to play the weird psycho, but
Yeah.
like he's great.
He's a character actor in a leading man's body. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Ben was a banker, clearly a really, really rich and successful banker who left Wall Street because he's got all the ins.
Yeah.
He's getting them cash.
Yep. Banker bets.
Banker wins.
So Mark sends out his team, as we know, to do some research, right?
Yes.
They go to like
How did you pull that?
Is that from Ian Anderson?
It's from Thick as a Brick 2, the Ian Anderson solo album.
I have that. It's great.
It's incredible.
That's always stuck with me.
They're looking at the housing market and how utterly bad it is. They're empty. They're for sale. The people who are in it are just renters, and they're behind on mortgage payments. They're like, oh man, like this is real. This
There's
is
like
gonna
abandoned
crash.
homes, yeah.
And if you remember back then, you drive down a block, everything was for sale. Like there's 5 or 6, sometimes 10 houses for sale on each block, at least around us. It was scary.
And they're like Q2 2007 is gonna crash. That's what they've decided.
That's when everything is going to start. Burry's already down 10%
Yep.
of the entire fund, not just the trade, like of the fund.
Yeah.
Like he could blow
He's
out.
getting a beatdown.
Oh my god.
A bully beatdown.
And Lawrence, I guess, is his backer, is the billionaire,
Oh, Lawrence.
Orange.
and they're pissed. 1.3 billion short. The premier 80 to 90 million a year is his premium.
Nothing is written.
The sheer
No prisoners!
the
So they're riding around with this real estate agent, and she's like, "Yeah, it's in a bit of a dip right now," but like, she's like oblivious, and he's like, "Can you set us up with a mortgage guy?" Like,
does,
and she does. And Logan Ash from No Time to Die, one of the Bond villains, is there.
yeah.
And I believe Blazer from Dodgeball is the other guy.
Wow.
No. He's from Zoe Deschanel's New Girl.
Oh, he's from
Fucking
New Girl?
Schmidt.
The
Schmidt
guy
from
with the
New
black
Girl.
hair?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
He's
Schmidt?
Schmidt from New
Okay.
Girl, yeah.
She's a quirky girl.
They're lenders. They're
Yeah.
mortgage guys. They write $60 a month. They don't reject a single loan. They don't care. They're just looking for their bottom pay, and they get it. Insane. It just
Predatory
unregulated
loans.
predatory loans. Yep.
Ninja loans, that's what they call them, right?
Yeah. Because even if they lose on a few, they're still making their bottom line with the first payment. So they're making money, and they don't care if the bank loses.
And Steve
They're
Carrell just hates them.
FDIC insured.
Yep.
Steve
Do you
Carell's
hate them because they're
disgusting.
bros?
A lot of mortgage people are not like that. I think they specifically made them bros for you to hate them.
Is your mortgage guy a bro?
I could see him in his younger days being a broing down a little bit.
He's calmed down.
Calming, bro. I think it's just mortgage people in general. They didn't have any regulation against
My
it.
mortgage guy fucked us.
Really?
Was he a bro?
Maybe in his younger days. So
My guy's a good guy.
So what our guy did, we were like, this is how much we can afford a month.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, okay. And he made our mortgage work that way. He did things in a shady way to make it look better. And after a year,
That's a guy hooking you up.
no,
Nope.
because after a year, it reverted and our mortgage increased by like $700 a month or something like that.
Wow.
And we weren't ready for it.
I thought you had a locked-in rate.
We have a fixed rate, but he did some finagling, like he was deferring some escrow or something like that.
Oh, he's lying.
So he basically lied
moved it
and
into
put
your
us
other
into
payments.
like a like
Yeah.
whatever it would have been for that year would have been what we're paying now.
All right.
But he lied about it for a year, so it looked much better than it was, and then it was a giant jump, which was a huge kick in the balls.
You should Luigi him.
Fucking
I
Luigi.
thought
Get
about it.
Go Luigi him.
I thought about
Yeah,
it.
Fucking get jacked.
Now,
Yeah.
Start shooting.
Yeah.
well, people would support me.
Ride a city bike to McDonald's. Be stupid and on camera.
Now,
right on your bullets.
now unfortunately,
Right on your bullets. Whoa.
unfortunately, I can't.
Bourdain would have loved that.
Yeah, unfortunately,
3 bullets. Fixed mortgage rate.
unfortunately, I can't because I'm not a scumbag piece of shit like
Murderer?
Luigi. Yeah. I'm not the biggest lowlife to ever fucking live. To just kill a husband and father in cold blood.
But you could fuck a man's wife
Cause him to kill
drive
himself.
him to suicide.
I gotta get my rocks off. I'm only human.
That's got to be on a shirt with Brian's face. I'm only human. So Mark is like in a VIP dance with a stripper,
Yeah.
and he's like, "You shouldn't have an adjustable mortgage. You're gonna get fucked."
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, don't just
talk
stop
to
moving.
me,
Talk
yeah.
to you for a second.
I'll still pay you.
Yeah.
It's like if you haven't. He
Remember when
explains
they
it very well.
I'm sorry, but do you remember when they used to order the Oriental salad, extra dressing, and then add, I'll pay for it?
Yes.
That was great.
Yep.
Every Oriental
$1
salad I gave at a certain point,
Extra
I would
dressing.
always just give extra dressing.
Yeah.
Without even if they didn't
Because
add.
they're going to ask for it, and it's just a pain in the balls.
Yeah.
So every Oriental, extra dressing. And
I always wanted to dip my balls in Oriental dressing and just see what that would look like.
cum. It looks like cum.
Yeah.
If you go to an Applebee's and you order Oriental dressing, it looks like cum.
But the consistency of it was always like gooey.
I always found it to be the most vile
really
thing on the
like-
menu.
It looks disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, I know what its base is.
It's like lard. It's like fat.
It's chicken fat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would, like, every time you go to an old lady, they always want the
They
Oriental.
love the Oriental
And
salad.
when I would go there, sometimes I would greet two old ladies. I'd be like, "Can I get you guys some Oriental chicken salads?" How'd you know? It's like,
They love
because
it.
that's what you all get. All of you.
All of you.
I hate them.
And not just the men.
The old ladies.
And the children. So,
So the stripper talks about her adjustable mortgage, and he's like, "You're gonna get fucked."
yeah, you're going to lose everything.
And he's just like, you know, you're not gonna be able to sell your house. She's like, "House? I got 5."
Yeah.
And like a beachfront property.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
Okay, we're done.
Yeah, he's like, all right,
It's fake and gay.
"Put
Yeah.
50 million on it."
yeah, we're short in this. We're gonna,
Yes.
And I guess Jared gets his deal, right? Because I guess he gets a bonus if
Jared.
I forgot his deal. What does he get a bonus for? It's like if he gets the
He gets-
opposite side of the credit default swaps, he gets a percentage
he gets
of
a
the
cut
sale.
of their sale.
Yeah, so he makes like 20 million or something.
Yeah, he makes an obscene amount.
Yeah. Even whether they make money or don't.
Yeah.
You know,
Rickert gets them at the table, the two kids.
Jamie and Charlie.
Yeah, and they play Feel Good Inc.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I like that song.
Yep. And Brad Pitt, this is funny, in 2015, this is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up in the airport with a mask,
Yeah.
and we're all supposed
This
to
would be
laugh.
like, what a lunatic.
And it's funny that, like, 10 years later, it's like, we've seen
normal.
this, like, a million
Yeah.
times. Like,
Yeah, it's normal.
and another quote comes up where it's like, truth is like poetry.
It rhymes.
Yeah, exactly. And we see the iPhone, you know, we're in the world of the
Yeah.
iPhone now.
Did you get an iPhone in 08?
I've never had an iPhone.
Did you get a smartphone in 08? When did you get your first smartphone?
Does a BlackBerry count?
I don't know. Is that a smartphone? No, it's not.
It's connected to the internet and
No,
stuff.
that's
it's not a touch
fake.
screen.
My first touchscreen was a shitty Pantech, I think in like 2007 or 8.
Was that early?
2008, I think, yeah.
I had
Or
the-
9, 8 or 9.
I had the first Google flip phone. I liked that phone.
I got an iPhone 3 the week that you guys went to that MMA thing in Wildwood, New Jersey. When was that?
August 2011.
That's when I got an iPhone.
11 or 10, something like that.
Never looked back. Huh?
Never looked back.
Bad move.
I remember like people getting them, and I would just be like, "Why would you want to go on the internet on your phone? Like, what are you gonna do?"
Everything.
Man was like, if man was meant to fly, he'd have wings.
I guess I'm not very forward thinking.
That's why I like history.
Yeah,
You're backwards.
I was
thinking.
looking backwards.
But has anything changed the world in our life as much as the iPhone?
No,
More than the internet, I think.
well, it is.
I know it's a part of it, but
No, the phone is way higher.
the
way crazier.
iPhone is way more, I think.
It intensified the internet. It's an internet intensifier.
Yeah.
It's like putting soldiers in a castle.
Yes, but it has more than the internet. You have your calendars, your calculators, your translators, your games. You have so much.
It killed boredom.
Phones.
Boredom
Text
doesn't
messages.
exist anymore.
Nope.
Well, now we're all endorphin junkies where we have to
Yeah.
check our phone because it makes us feel
Not
good.
only does boredom not exist, but patience is gone now too
Yeah.
because everything is so instant.
Patience.
When was the last
That's all
time
you
you
need.
took a shit? No phone, nothing to read.
Oh, you
Raw
can't
dog
raw
in it?
Raw
dog,
dog
and
just shit.
I've done it.
When was your last time?
It's a crisis when you do. It's like,
What
the
am I
fuck
doing?
do I
Yeah.
do right now?
Find a shampoo bottle, start
Yeah.
reading or
Yeah.
something.
had a migraine.
What am I putting in my
I had
hair?
a migraine a couple months ago, and like all light was like just like making me vomit, and I had to shit, and I couldn't open my eyes, so I was just sitting there shitting
I really wrong.
with my eyes closed, just like this is the worst
Just
thing
imagining
ever.
like a movie in your head or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Like even when you're drunk, or like you have a hangover and you're vomiting and you're laying on the fucking bathroom floor or something. I gotta listen to the Opie and Anthony show while I do it. You know, it's fucking like.
Just watch Lord of the Rings in your head. You'll be fine.
That's a great idea.
I do that all the time. I do most of the time I'm recording.
Just
I'm
watch
just
Lord of the Rings.
watching
in
Lord of
your-
the Rings in
like
my
while we
head.
sit here do the show, you're watching
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
What part are you up to?
All right, they got to Rivendell.
He just likes to look at Orlando Bloom, and that's
It's the extended version.
If you want him, come and claim him. Oh, he passed
That's
that.
Fadaya. That's right before they get to
yeah.
Rivendell. It's not too far.
I like the moment that's just a close up of Elrond's face surrounded by white light.
You know,
yeah.
And you're like, what's
Who is
happening?
this guy?
Why is Agent Smith talking?
Yeah. Why has he got a receding hairline?
We- Why does he look like an angel?
Yeah.
okay. So now,
January 2007.
2007, they're expecting the crash, and it hasn't happened.
Well, mortgage defaults are rising,
What?
but subprime bonds are also rising. So, like, it should be doing the opposite.
Because everyone's lying.
Well, that's what we're about to find
Right.
out in the movie.
Right.
They're like, why no downgrade? This doesn't make sense.
And now Mark has to post his collateral because
Yeah.
he lost money every month.
And Bale is fucking pissed too because,
Because this was supposed to be it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't count on the system being that corrupt.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you
Now,
guys.
these are the evil bankers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But could you make a case? This is weird. That they're actually, by lying about it, propping up the economy, and it might be good. Could you make that case that by
That
preventing
like something's going to change?
by preventing this collapse,
No.
because it's just a ticking time bomb anyway,
yeah.
right?
Here's why it took so long.
It's like ignoring a fire in your house.
Nobody was necessarily ignoring it. It's just once people start defaulting on their loans, this insurance company has to pay. Well, this insurance company is doing a swap with this insurance company, and this insurance company is doing a swap with this insurance company, and it has to trickle down. It's not just going to collapse overnight. It's going to take a few weeks and possibly months to figure out who is taking the blunt of this damage. And when it finally got down to it, it was like, oh, it's the biggest institutions. It's not just the small people.
Yeah.
So what the big institutions were trying to do was sell off those toxic assets to mitigate that pain, which was evil, not wrong. You know, like that's between banks and bank dealings. You know, they sell toxic assets all the time. There's nothing illegal
Yeah.
about that.
My
You take on the risk. You know
My
the risk you're
mortgage
taking
has.
on.
Are you still on your original mortgage deal?
Yeah.
Mine has been sold like 2 or 3 times to different companies.
Because you're triple B,
course.
bro.
Of course. Yep. He's right.
I might be.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a good fixed rate, but
Well, what's your credit rating?
my credit's shit.
Right. So you're a lower mortgage rate because you have a higher chance of defaulting.
Like I've been saying, you got to hate the Brian.
Hate the Brian. So we hate the ultra rich. We hate the ultra poor.
We hate Brian.
You know, let's just hate the middle guy too.
So
Maybe we should just hate the system.
yeah, but because we started with one, then they sold it to another,
Right.
and now we're on our 3rd servicer.
Right.
Wow.
Nothing changes with the money.
No.
It's just like
swapping it
they
out.
just move shit around.
They're
Yeah.
swapping risk out.
Yeah.
You're a calculated risk to them. That's all you are. You're a number. Rightfully
Look,
so.
it doesn't matter to me who fucking has it. It's the same amount, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
I like the scene.
You're an
this-
errand boy sent by grocery clerks to collect a bill.
I like this fun scene because they go to the S&P and they're like, why didn't you downgrade these
Yes.
securities and bonds? Like, what
This
are you
is a great
doing?
scene.
And she's like a half-blind lady named Georgia who's just like,
Symbolically blind.
Yes.
we are competing with Moody's. we're not going to downgrade anyone. Otherwise, these big companies are not going to come
They
to
don't
us,
wanna
and we're
come
going
to
to
us.
lose our business.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a third party
Right.
who's going to do it because they want to make money. No one wants to get downgraded.
Right.
I noticed that there's a lot of characters in this movie that allow Steve Carell to just angrily yell at them without changing their demeanor whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like when he goes to Las Vegas. I think we skipped that.
No, that's
Nope,
that's
it's coming
now.
up. It's coming up.
Like they go to Las Vegas and he talks to this guy, and he's clearly like hostile to this guy and like yelling at him. The guy's just like, yeah, man, it's cool.
Oh, the
Like doesn't
the,
pick
like,
up on
Filipino
his
guy?
emotions. Yeah.
Well, it's not that he's like, yeah, it's fine, I'm cool. It's in this world,
they're bragging.
it's bragging. Yeah. But also you do no good yelling and getting upset with people, because there's a good chance that person's going to be working somewhere else that you need them. Like, you don't make enemies there. It's mutually against each other sometimes. Like, hey, I'm on the other side of this trade, you're on the other side of this trade. It's going to suck if I lose, but it would suck just as much as you lost. And let's say you go to another company, it's like, hey, I'll still trade with you. You know, I have nothing against you. You're not the entity. This dude is not the entity. Like, you have no right to be angry at this guy. He's just doing what he's told.
Right.
You know, although Nuremberg trial said, you know, don't do that. But you know, in the economic
only
world,
following orders.
in the economic world, it's like, hey, this is allowed. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm making a living. Fuck you. You know.
Yeah, Steve Carell like asked some guy questions. He's like raising his hand and just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck
Well,
you.
that was real.
Yeah, I know he did that. There's videos too. There's videos of the thing at the end too with the Bear Stearns thing that are amazing. All right, so they're in Vegas. You know, he yells at people. The guy's like 0% chance it doesn't go under. He's like, fuck you. And the young guys are at the gun range with these like asshole dudes.
Bro dudes.
Dudes.
There's one thing you glazed
Movie does
over
not
here.
like bro dudes.
No.
You glazed over one thing
What
here.
I glaze over.
The Vegas American Securities Forum.
Yeah.
When they're talking about the subprime mortgages, they said that the losses are contained at 5%.
Yes.
And Mark's like, can it go over? Can you guarantee that? And they're like, yeah, we can guarantee it. It just calls bullshit completely.
Yeah. Bullshit.
It's hard for me to believe, and I'm not saying it's fake, it's just hard for me to believe that any like logical economics person can say we contain a loss ever.
Well, here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I think that it's a calculated lie because by saying it can't, you boost consumer confidence.
Correct.
If you say there's a chance it could be bad, people hear that, and now you've put the seed of doubt in their head.
Well, that's a rating, isn't it? Consumer confidence rating that's an actual rating
Well,
in the market.
I know,
I think you could bet on it.
But that's why people perceive things a certain way. It's like, look at the economy and the stocks the way it's been happening with the Trump tariff things. It's like he says one thing,
Up,
and
down.
the tariffs go up. He says another, or the stocks go up. He says another thing, and they go down. So it's like, that's just the reality of the market. And what he's doing there is being very calculated by saying there's no chance this bad thing could happen because a bad thing could happen.
Yeah.
Well, he literally said he joked that he was going to take over Canada, and they elected a communist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a spite government.
Gun range kind of reminded me of Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Your bachelor
That's
party.
probably like the same place we were at.
Battleground Vegas. Go if you got a chance.
Yeah, that's sick.
However, they did one thing that I got very disturbed about. He's
Gun
shooting an Uzi or something.
Yeah.
And he goes, "This is awesome," and turns, and the gun points sideways.
Yeah.
He would have been pushed down, gun on the floor, and they would have been kicked out almost instantly. Don't do that. If you're ever at a gun range, do not
Well, this is 2000 and
point down the range. No, this has always been the way. It always will be the way. Never point your gun anywhere except down the range.
I know a girl that had. Well, we all do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That exact thing happened to her.
She looked down the barrel.
Yeah.
we know a
She
girl.
didn't.
Yeah.
She wasn't sure how to check for more bullets, and she looked down the fucking
She's
barrel.
like,
We know a girl who
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you can guess if you tried. You're the dumbest woman we hung out with.
There's so many.
I know. I'm not gonna say. Well, I'll tell you.
Tell
later.
me off mic.
I'll tell you off mic. Yeah. Well, now what's interesting is Charlie is trying to get.
That's
more
my dog.
Is trying to get more Credit default swaps.
He bit my finger.
Or I think Jamie.
Charlie.
No, Jamie. I think Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie,
And
please.
he's getting quoted like the collapse is already happening. And he's like, why can't I get a good price? This is like why am I not making money if nobody's actually buying these things? And that's when Sign's down 19%. That's execution territory. If you lose 19% of your fund, you're getting fired that month.
Yeah, it's not looking
You're
good.
done. Yeah.
Also, Karen Gillian was there being all hot.
Is that the redhead?
Yeah. All right. So now they explain synthetic CDOs, which basically Selena Gomez and Rich Thaler explain them. And the way it works is Steve places a bet, essentially.
Bets on top of bets on
and
top
bets
of
on
bets.
top, and it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
And then if one thing goes wrong, we
Then
all
all
are
of
fucked.
Southeast Asia is communist.
Yes.
Now, Ben, Charlie, and Jamie, so Brad Pitt and the young guys,
Yeah.
they actually place an even riskier bet.
Yes.
So normally
business.
they're betting against the B-rated mortgages, securities,
Yeah.
mortgage-backed securities. So you know that somebody's going to fail. They're junks.
Yeah.
The A-rated securities are not junk. Like they're actually safe mortgages. These are people who pay. These are people who like are actually have good credit and checked. They bet against those because they're like, oh,
They bet against the double A's.
the double A's because they're like, oh, if the B's fail, the whole bottom comes out and
Yeah.
that's going to go down. It's going to drag everything down.
Yes.
And that takes balls heavy enough to sink California into the ocean. That's insane to think about.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, but they knew what they were talking
Say
about.
so.
Yeah. It's an insane play.
Yeah.
It's-
I
it's-
believe you.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about this. This is very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
We cut to a scene of Christian Bale drumming, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the shot.
Yeah. He's making the best drum noise.
He's in the back corner of like a room, right?
Yeah.
He's in the back corner of a room.
All right.
The drum kit is completely sealing this corner. You could not walk around it.
How'd he get in there?
How do you get in there? Now, there's 2 doors. But I want you to think about this. That means this room. He's in the middle of 2 doors in this corner.
You really thought about this?
It's all I was thinking about. Is because the scene's like prolonged of him drumming. This room, he can't access it. He can only play the drums in this corner because of how he put this room. Because there's 2 doors next to him, and the camera even pulls back, and you see more of the room, and he has like a plastic gate in front of him, and he has a giant space.
I don't remember this. I gotta look at it. I don't
It's
remember this.
fucking insane. And this
I
setup,
was not paying attention.
this
to this.
setup bothered the shit out of me. 'Cause if he needs to get to the front of the room, he either has to jump over his
The drum kit.
or he has to leave the room from where he drums, go all the way around, and then go to the front. The room is inaccessible in any reasonable way.
So you're saying the drums actually block access through the room?
Yes, so look at that corner.
Okay.
Imagine a chair in that corner.
Right.
And then a giant drum kit blocking the doors.
So the only way to get behind the drums is to go through that door.
Yes.
And you couldn't get behind the drums from over there.
Yes. So you would have to leave and come all the way around. It's like a madhouse, this room.
So happy you noticed that.
It's all because as I'm watching him drum, I'm like, what setup
is
is
this
this?
Okay. So, Mark, after hearing about the synthetic swaps and talking to this random dude who pretty much hedges his swaps against other swaps,
Yes.
like, yeah, CDOs, excuse me, not swaps. So, this CDO is covered by this CDO, is covered by this CDO, is covered by this CDO. Nothing has coverage realistically. It's just all failing.
Yes.
And he's like, "Yep, we're putting 500 million more into the market, which is pretty much risking your entire fund
It's
at
doomed.
that point." Yeah,
Fire 1 million.
fire one, but 500,000, 1 million. 1 million.
So they're worried about the economy heating up.
I think he was drumming to Pantera, by the way.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But this is also when he sends that email saying, "Hey, I'm restricting investors to pulling out their money," and it is. I don't know what was in that clause that said he could do that, but I'm almost certain you can go to jail.
He had unlimited power.
Because otherwise, why not just do that and then say, "Yeah, you're not pulling your money out," and I'll just take it. Like I could just destroy the entire world like that.
So now it's April 2nd, 2007.
Yep.
And we have the first bankruptcy.
Subprime lender bank files for bankruptcy.
Yes.
That's the beginning.
That's the beginning. And then Bear Stearns starts collapsing.
Well, all these banks that had the opposite of their credit default swaps have to pay out at the same time.
What happened to WAMU?
WAMU went under.
They went under.
That was
During
my
this?
bank. Yeah, they got bought by Capital One, I think.
Yeah, a lot of banks went under.
Yeah.
Rough.
Chase was the only one to come out pretty okay because they started buying up all the other banks.
Well,
Chase kind of saved the country, if you really want to talk about it.
I don't know what you can look this up. Did Chase receive anything from?
He's
that
not selling. He's buying.
I don't know. I don't know if Chase had the same exposure as other ones.
What do you want me to Google?
What was Chase exposure in the 2008 crash?
That seems like a very complicated answer.
It shouldn't be. It's going to be light or heavy, because they were one of the banks that actually put up money to bail everyone out.
Chase faced significant exposure due to leverage lending and mortgage holding, resulting in substantial investment bank write-downs. The bank also took on substantial risk by participating in multiple Fed emergency programs, including the asset-backed commercial paper program and investment bank loans. Additionally, J.P. Morgan Chase received a $25 billion loan from the U.S. Treasury under the Troubled Asset Relief Program to help with troubled assets related to residential mortgages. But I think they used that money to buy out a lot of the other failed banks.
Right, and save them.
Yeah.
$25 billion.
Wow. It's crazy, man. It doesn't seem like even such a big number because we have like $1 trillion things happen and like COVID is happening.
Debt.
Like,
how many apocalypses do we have to live through?
Oh, we're not done yet, buddy.
Did you see the? I think I sent it to you guys. That used car payment rates are like the lowest it's ever been.
Yeah.
Oh, we're fucked.
Well, there's another
We're in trouble,
there's another
guys.
line in the movie which sent chills up my spine because they're like, we bought this house a couple of years ago and it's increased by like $150,000. My house, we bought it in 2021.
Yeah.
The value is so inflated right now because of the market. It is over $150,000 value increase.
Right.
It's like, that's absurd.
It's completely fake.
Yeah, it's completely fake.
The market is going to collapse. It's inevitable.
Don't sell your house. Just wait it out. You got 30 years.
Well, I have 30 years. Look, if I really wanted to be smart, I should sell it, take the $150,000,
Go buy a small one.
Live with my mother, wait for the market to crash, and then buy a fucking
get a
giant
condo.
one. But I don't want to do it. I'm very comfortable where I am. All right.
Yeah.
And now they're like, it's the end of capitalism. That's such a fucking line from the movie. It's not the end of capitalism. We still exist in capitalism. And I actually don't like using the phrase capitalism.
But I'll say this. That's exactly the signs I was reading on those communists when I walked past them back in 2008. That's something people were saying. So it's an accurate statement.
Oh, people were saying that. But people always want to say that. Here's the thing. I don't like using the phrase capitalism because it's actually a communistic phrase used to paint. It was invented by...
Like Marx.
It was invented by Marx in Das... Well, it was invented by Prunell, I think, in one of his books. And then Marx really ran with it in Das Kapital. The phrase never existed before that. It's their language. I don't like using it.
Right.
It should just be free market economics or laissez-faire. I hate giving it into their fucking language.
Right.
But it's become the shorthand that we're raised with.
Right.
And
so that people understand
I
it.
fucking despise it.
Yeah.
Because the implication of naming it capitalism means that because I have something, no one else could.
Right.
When it's fucking bullshit. It's like, that's not how it works. It's the end of capitalism. It's like, no, I could say, Aunt, give me your water bottle for this fucking Coke can. And that's capitalism, essentially. That's all it is. It's a free trade. It's a free exchanging of goods. It's a free market. If Aunt valued it at that price and we swap it, I fucking hate that phrase.
Magnets.
And I use it because that's the shorthand, but I hate giving them a win.
Yeah.
Ugh, it makes me sick.
Well, the Wall Street Journal won't touch the story.
What was the Alex Jones quote? It must make you sick.
That's what I was doing. Yeah, makes me sick. Makes me want to puke. I don't remember what he was talking about. Probably something stupid. So the Wall Street story.
They don't want to
rejects
touch it. Yeah. Well, which is kind of a lie because like people were reporting on this. They were reporting on the exposure.
Well, but they're saying this is like the
end of times.
the
Yeah, it's
hidden
not.
detail. You know.
Well, they
The
knew
press is
that
complicit.
that's
Shocker.
what they thought, that the banks were purposely hiding this and trying to sell off their bad assets. Well, the reality was that was true, but they were also assessing, everything. Like I said, it doesn't take overnight. But now that everything collapses, they will have the lowest price of swaps,
Yes.
and these banks got to fucking buy it back because
Yep.
they're screwed.
Everyone wants their swaps.
Yeah. And it turns out J.P. Morgan is in trouble. They swapped against their triple A's, so swap for swap,
Yep.
to cover their lower rated ones because, hey, if the market doesn't go down, it's great. We're protected with the triple A's,
Yeah.
which now that dropped the triple A value, which their exposure was $15 billion. Huh. That's what they say in this.
Yeah. And when that bitch bends over, you forget your name. And now,
For sure he was going to play that.
Rough.
yeah. And now they go. They're like, we got to short. Mark goes, we got to short the banks. Mark wants to short the banks too,
Yeah.
because he's like, they're all going to
They're gonna
collapse.
collapse,
He
yeah.
knows it.
Yeah, of course.
So they start shorting it, and now the young guys call Brad Pitt in England, and he's in an English pub, and he's
Yeah.
on the phone.
You gotta
he's
sell
being
this.
heckled by
By
angry
pub
Brits.
goers.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing with 50 million?
banker.
Are you a banker?
banker.
Well,
Something-
serve your corn here.
Nobody's ever
At least
said
my
that.
kids don't get shy of schools.
Where's your license to be using that internet in here, mate? Get your banking license.
Must be nice to be in a bar without kids being shot at schools.
So he's selling 200 million worth of securities in
Yes.
a pub,
Yes.
probably with bad Wi-Fi,
Yep.
if Wi-Fi was even in the
Yeah.
pub. Wild.
They make $80 million, the two kids.
Off the securities, yeah.
Yep. And I do like the scene where
I wouldn't mind that.
I do like the scene where the two kids are like celebrating and Brad Pitt tries them. He goes, "Do you know what you
fuck
just
up,
bet
yeah.
against?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you fucking jerk offs.
Yeah.
You're like one of these douchebag bros now."
Yeah.
I like that scene.
Well, it has real ramifications.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to die from it.
Yeah.
Look what happened to Bourdain.
Yeah.
And Luigi.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
Luigi, yeah. Well, he says every 1% of unemployment rate is 45,000 deaths added per year
Yes.
from
Did you know that?
Suicide and other things.
Did you
like
know that?
Yeah.
Damn,
it's like-
To be
like
honest,
Brad's
I
right here.
I hated that. That's one of the things I really hated about that job. That was rough. I didn't like that because you would hear about like, oh, because we have News 24/7 running.
Right.
Oh, a bomb went off in a country,
It would change the markets.
and the markets start going crazy, and you make money off that. But you're like, oh shit, I'm profiting
off
death.
death.
Like, that's not good. That's a bad, evil thing to do. You know.
Yeah.
So.
You sure about that 5 minutes?
You sure about that 5 minutes?
What is that?
I don't know why he said
that-
it, but I don't know why it picked up so
Is that
quick.
fucking
My cousin Vinny.
Yeah. So now Michael Burry decides to sell.
doing.
Instantly.
Michael Burry decides to sell. And,
Yeah.
And then
$489 million
Yep.
profit will be paid out. You're welcome.
Gosling gets Gosling makes $48 million. He has a nice check. And now it's March 14th, 2008. Mark Baum is debating
Bruce Miller.
From
Bear Stearns.
and from Bear Stearns, and Alan Greenspan is going to speak after them at like this economics event. This is a real video. You can watch it online. It is fascinating to watch.
Really?
You see it in real time. Yeah.
And the people really walk out of the thing?
Oh yeah. It's fucking. Yeah. They may not walk out. I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but I did years ago, like when I first saw it. You could see the video though. It's 100% legit.
No, I believe it.
I do believe they walked out. And basically, Mark Baum schools him, and shit collapses. Lehman Bros goes under, and Burry starts
buying
stocks because he's like, it's going to go back up eventually.
Yeah, smart.
Yep. And now we get a big speech from Michael Burry writing a letter, and he closes the fund. Everyone made their money. He writes out, his stats. And then Ryan Gosling's like, and there was a bunch of reforms and Wall Streeters were jailed. Nah. It's like, nah, they're actually doing it again,
Mark
man.
makes $1 billion.
And it's like, well, you know what? If maybe, just maybe, we can get rid of that 1977 bill, which has fucked us. Maybe.
Fucking tell the president. Let him do it. Fucking exec order that shit right out of there. It's what we do now.
That'd be nice.
You just make shit happen.
Yeah, you could just write on Twitter.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
it'll get
Right to Trump.
Do it right now. Do it
Fucking,
right
you know what?
now.
Skip the middleman. Go right to Truth
right to
Social.
him.
Fucking get on his ass, and he'll fucking fix it.
He will. He'll do it. He'll read it and he'll ask like a little like Asian boy quant next to him. And be
I don't know what he's talking about. What is this?
This is my quant. My quant says it. Do it. Do it.
He says the market's gonna collapse.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do
I think
it.
we should
It's
listen
fine.
to this
You
Brian
gotta make
Rogan
it.
fella.
You're gonna have to make a Truth Social account and fucking
The
hound him.
Reviewing history, social
Hound
account.
him a couple times.
He goes, look, this podcast, they're a bunch of good guys from Staten
I watched a
Island.
couple episodes.
Come on,
They
you
made
miss.
me laugh.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? What's the worst happen? He doesn't hear you. You might save the world if you
Ryan,
do this.
Come on.
Podcast
Why are you
the
not-
Patriots.
Yeah. There you go.
Why are you not saving the world?
So they're like, I think there's going to be a bailout. And of course there
There's
is.
a fucking massive
The
bailout.
banks, a lot of them survive. One banker went to jail.
For hiding losses.
Yeah. And the last thing in the movie is Michael Burry finally decides to
So
sell his position.
makes $1 billion.
Makes $1 billion.
Off the taxpayers.
Yes.
Who's that? Bale?
No, not
Carrell.
Burry. Sorry, Baum.
Carrell.
Oh,
And then $5 trillion was gone.
he made $1 billion.
He had $1 billion in that trade. One
Holy
trade.
shit!
Yeah. Now, how much of that goes to the other guys in his office? Like, how does it work?
Goes to the
Like
fund.
$50.
Okay.
I don't know their cuts. Like I
I
don't know.
want the angry guy who chews gum a lot to get a lot
Some
of money.
some people do salary plus percentage. Some people just
Mm-hmm.
do percentage. Like my deal was a 60-40 split.
If this was your thing, how much money would you have made if your company
was
did the Big Short?
40% of $1 billion.
It depends how much I had. So okay, let's say all right, reviewing history, right?
Yeah.
We have 100 million in our fund.
Yeah, that sounds
let's
like
just
a
say
Patreon
we have
number.
100 million, right? I put in 60% of that, and you both put in like 30,
Mm-hmm.
right?
How much do we owe to Easy Pass just by association?
$87,000.
Oh, we didn't talk about that on here.
Hold on, wait, no. So
get
let's
me
say
started.
it's like 60, 30, 30. My cut's 60, yours is 30, yours is 30. They might have a 1% cut. 1% is still what, $10 million or something like that. So, you're killing it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Would you have been able to retire if this happened at your firm? Like, would you have made enough where you're like, I'm done?
I didn't have the equity. I only had $1 million equity to lose margin. Excuse me, $1 million margin. I was very small.
Okay.
And so like if I say I had $1 million margin, the max I can lose a day is 20,000.
Okay.
So I was a nobody.
Baby.
I was a baby, but
Yeah.
I would make good money.
So $5 trillion was gone from the market. 8 million people were fired. 6 million Americans lost homes.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
Bury, what I write? I can't make it out. It looks like arrested, but I don't think he was.
Development.
No,
It was the show. The show was on at the time.
No, he shut down the fund.
But
He was watching it during the trade.
Yeah, remember they had that truck that had stairs on the back from the airport? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bury starts investing in water now.
Oh, yeah.
And that's his new thing, because water is going to be the new hot commodity. Because I guess he forgot to mention that it falls from the sky.
No, I think Bill Gates bought water rights too.
Bill Gates also bought up a lot of
They
farmland.
just started a war over water literally 2 weeks ago. You
Yeah.
can't really laugh at
It's
it.
real. No, it's real. Buying water is water rights, not just water.
Yeah, well, did you see? Do you remember when the guy from Nestle tried to like buy all the water in
Yeah.
like a country and like?
He tried killing them all. Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to like Nicaragua or something. Like the CEO of Nestle tried to buy all
The
their
chocolate
water.
guy?
Yeah, and like tried to like
He
like,
tried starting a civil
Tried to kill
war.
Nicaragua?
he
Yeah.
tried to like get
Create a
all their
civil
water
war,
and like
yeah.
make them all like die.
You know, you hear about shit like that, and it's like, this gives me hope. Because I always
I
feel
didn't
like
think it was going to the hope route.
Nothing interesting ever happens
in Nicaragua.
Nothing interesting. Like, we're in nothing ever happens.
Interesting
land.
things happen every day.
Right. You know? Like, you hear stories about Aaron Burr trying to take over Texas. It's like, when was the last time somebody tried to take over Texas? Now I hear Nicaragua's getting his water from the Nestle guy, and it's like, all right, let's ride this fucking wave. Let's see where it goes. May you live in interesting times. I hear that's a Chinese curse.
That is
Really?
Yeah.
it's such a disturbing take. I'm thinking like I hear about the Nicaragua thing. The correct thing is like it's horrible. Companies shouldn't be doing that, but instead you're like interesting stuff. Great.
You know, like, whatever happened to, like, glorious evil?
Oh no, we're not good. That's at 0 minutes because we're at 1:58.
Are we done?
So I think we're done.
All right. Never mind. I was going to bring up the Dutch East India
Sorry.
Company. Listen,
Well, we can't record, so
are we not recording anymore?
oh, that's a stock. That's the best drawing you've ever done.
That's the truck from Arrested Development.
I don't know when that stopped, but you ran out of. You ran out.
All right. Well, hold on. Where you going?
I believe that was an hour 50. So maybe the last 8 minutes. But you know what? Since you're not,
now it's done.
it's fine. Since you're not on camera, I will do the outros, and Ant already left. So thank you everyone for watching, for listening. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Anything helps. You know, we want this to grow. We want to bring you more stuff where Brian is like fighting tooth and nail with his anger about, you know, economics. Please visit reviewinghistory.com. You want to send us an email, reviewinghistorypod@gmail.com. This week this is May 16th. May 16th. Join our Patreon, you know, patreon.com, Reviewing History. This week is Slasher School episode 4, Evil Dead. That is going to be with Brian Anthony and our lovely friend Jamie the Hair Guy. Please watch, you know, it always helps. Thank you so much. You can contact Brian Rupert personally on his letterbox, on his email, on Twitter, whatever you want to do. You can even write us right on the website. Just write us on the website. It's the easiest way to get in touch with us. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time, and bye.
Not as easy as it looks, huh?
I am the P-Man!